welcome back. Fred in the Shed 2. Just putting a little video together here. As I'm making this, I'm still not over COVID. I've still got COVID. I'm not able to even complete this video because I'm waiting to take the bike on a test run, but I just haven't felt well enough to be able to go out, plus I'm still positive and such like. So yeah, this video is a bit strange. I kind of got a Yose electric bike conversion kit, Yose Power. The good lady bought it for me from Amazon. It's only a very cheap kit, one of these China ones really, that are they're very cheap. And I wasn't really going to make a video. I just took some video for myself for reference, as I've not done one before, in case I had to go back and do something again. And then as the video went on, I got more into it, and then, so unfortunately, after I went on holiday, which was nice, I came back, and then I went down with COVID, so it held everything up. So I decided to put all this together, and it's a bit of a vlog, if you like, on Fred in the Shed 2, just shows you what I've been up to. Not with it. What I've been up to over the past, well, I guess 6 or 7 weeks now. It's sort of dragged on. So here it is. I'll add the little test drive in the end when I've done it. So I don't even know how this electric bike conversion works at this moment, but it could be interesting. It's not a how-to guide. There's a lot of those much better than I could do on YouTube. So this is not intended as a tutorial. Please don't follow this in the future as a tutorial. This is just me building one up just for my own real amusement, entertainment value only, this video. So anyway, let me get on and edit it, and then of course then you will see it on YouTube. It's a bit weird, I'm doing this back to front, but I hope you're all well anyway. I hope you're feeling better than I am, and by the time this video hits the channel and it's all finished, I should be pretty much 100% well, back to work and everything, and feeling a lot better. But cheers, there's the thumbs from Fred, and let's get on with editing this video so I can get it up for you guys to watch on YouTube. Fred 2, cheers guys. Hello, welcome back, just a Fred 2 video. I hope you're well. Hope you're all keeping nice and well. Just thought I'd do a video to keep you updated, because I might fall behind a little bit perhaps on the Fred 1 videos, as I've got a holiday coming up, and just been doing a few odd little things like this. This is a little project that I'm doing. I'm not making an official video on it because everyone's done all this before, but this old Raleigh storm bike here, this was my late father's, and I inherited it. And he sort of used it to go down the shops, poodle about on, and it was put away in the garage for, must have been 12 years. So I've been reconditioning this, if you like. Just was well past its best sell-by date. So I've been putting on new handlebars, new headset there to raise it up, because I'm getting on a bit now. I don't like the bend down thing. And then while I was about it, a good lady treated me to one of these e-bike conversion kits. You've seen these on eBay and on Amazon. Bought a very cheap one, well, cheapest one you could really get. So yeah, been converting, got an all 250 watt hub motor there, and decided to just give it a conversion, just to help me up the hills in the winter, because the old knees are getting a little bit stiff these days. And that's what I'm doing. Just been doing this, and just going to fit the control panel. And only a little 250 motor, so it's not that powerful. It's not like your Andy Kirby's bikes that he's got on his channel, 1500 watts. It's crazy speeds, you know, 30, 40 miles an hour. He's going to do 15 miles an hour max. So yeah, I've been mucking about with this all week, doing that. I've got the radio on in the shed shack. We'll have a little look. We've got the 6900 in there, so let's go and take a look at that. Just got the 6900 set up here in a moment, just on the 1.9. Got the squelch turned up. There's usually something going on. Yeah, it's a little bit in the background. There's normally something chatting on all day on the 1.9, people in the background getting an S9 signal from them, but it's quite sensitive, the old Antron 99. So my little shack has been a bit knocked about because I've been working on that e-bike, all my tools out in the shack. But I did come out here yesterday, and I went on to the 27305 and had a little chat to the guys, and the 6900 just on what we call QRP power, just on its local power, probably about 22, 23 watts, something like that. It got out to wear, and Chris could hear me. It got all around a local net. So it does enough, you know, this radio. It does 40 watts on FM, which is plenty, and about 30 watts maximum on sideband. I've got the battery on, and it's just cable management really now. The battery was a little bit tricky because this is an old bike. I've had a few problems because things have changed over the years, and the water bottle carrier which this bolts on was down here, so I did have to drill the frame to get the battery on. It's been a little bit of a trip really, but I say it's my dad's old bike. I didn't want to throw it away, wanted to reuse it. Bit of sentimental value there, but got the handlebars on, got to take that off, but got the little controller on there, and it's all about cable management. There's a lot of cables on this e-bike, but I've got some of this stuff from Amazon here that wraps round. That's kept it reasonably tidy, and then when we come down here I've got a mass of cables. It does come with a little bag, which is quite nice, and then I've got I'm going to buy some zip-up cable ties, which I'll probably show you at the end of the video, and just try and keep that looking a little bit neater. But yeah, if you know, people that have done these would understand it. A lot of it really is cable management. It does get a little bit messy with the cables unless you spend a little bit extra, get some cable management. So I haven't driven it yet, so I take it for a ride. Never ever used an e-bike before. I know that it works, so I'm only going to take it round the garden because it's not quite fixed yet. But come on then, let's do it. It's a bit of a laugh, and if I fall off I'll get that on video. You can all laugh at me like you normally do. Right, time to turn it on. Should we take this off? I think I might get a screen protector for it or something. Alright, switch it on. Now I know it does work, so I did try it with the wheel up in the air. Oh, hang on, sorry. Got to switch the battery on. It's all new, you know. There you go. Oh yeah, there you go. That's coming alive. I've got no idea what any of this does yet. I think it's calibrated to 26-inch wheels, which is what I'm running. Power assist is on 1 on eco mode, and that's about all we're going to need for the garden, I think. That's about it. I've got to look at the manual. It does lots of different things. Set it to miles an hour. Not that it's going to matter in the garden. Right, okay. So let's see how we get on. Right, I'm going to have to hold the camera down a second so I get my balance. Right, let's see how we get on. Whoa, oh shit. Well, that cut in. Whoa. God, that is a weird sensation. Oh, shit, there it goes again. It's really hard, one-handed. Let me try it on the throttle. It's got a hand throttle, which is the only thing that makes it slightly illegal. You're supposed to use that off the road, but just bear with me a minute. Hang on. So when that cuts in, it's very... Whoa, there it goes again. It's very strange. It's almost like getting a push from behind. If you've ever ridden a bike, and then you get that glorious moment sometimes when you get a gust of wind and it almost like pushes you from the back. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's like. I could get quite used to that. It's a very interesting sensation. It's very hard to do this one-handed. Let's try and use the hand throttle. Whoa, throttle. Wow. This is on Power Assist 1. Bloody hell! I tell you what. God, it's got some acceleration. I'm only just. I nearly went as Bella's football. Oh, I'm going to go, ain't I? I don't want to come off. It hurts to come off, but yeah, just barely touching that throttle, and it's got some kick to it. Whoa, there it goes again. It's a little bit on off. I suppose at the moment I'm only doing 2 or 3 miles an hour in the garden, but it picks up. This is on Power Assist 1. I'm getting used to it now. That's on PS1. It's going to go. You just got to. Right. So if I don't do a full turn of the crank, it won't kick in. It's coming on every half turn of. There it goes. Every half turn of the crank. Whoa. Let's try it on a. God, it's dead easy to. So it was 3.7 miles an hour just rolling round the garden. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to fall off. That's impressive. Never driven one before. And this is only a cheap kit. It was 380 quid, this kit. The good lady bought it for me because I was moaning about the old knees were getting a bit sore. But this is a crazy video, and it's got to be a Fred 2 video. So I picked up one of these torque arm brackets to reinforce the dropouts on the motor, and yeah, thanks to people on the radio. I was chatting to John in Luton, who's built a really epic dragster of a electric bike. I think he was saying he was getting about over 2,000 watts from his motor on the back of the bike, which is crazy. But anyway, what he said, and other people have also said this, is that where you've got the dropouts here, this can twist with torque. Even on a little 250 motor like this can twist with torque, and it will slowly open that out. You've got the gears holding the other side in that, but this needs a little bit of reinforcement. So you get a torque arm. Well, I picked one of these up. This was the one that they recommended to get. There is one that kind of bolts onto the frame with a Jubilee clip. It looks pretty manky, but yeah, trying to get this to fit is a bit strange. It needs to line up with this hole here, if you can see that. That's the hole that is going to also take my pannier rack, and it only fits on so many ways, and I thought it might go this way. This seems to be how it wants to go. You can see that it reinforces this, but it just doesn't line up, and this has been a problem with converting this old bike, is that things are close, but obviously over time things have changed. Dropouts, I imagine, have changed, and nothing ever seems to line up, so I'm having to adjust everything, and this is going to be a bit of a problem. I think that's how it's supposed to go. There's no other way really you can fit it. If it goes this way, but then this just all fouls up on the frame. So yeah, I'm probably going to have to try and adjust this as well. I think that's how it wants to go. But yeah, it's one step forward, sort of one step back with this build. It has been quite difficult over time. Got this mudguard thing on here. This was completely over-engineered. I'm not very happy with the way that it fits. Completely ludicrous amount of engineering gone into that. But there you go. Well, we're going to struggle on. Might have to get the file out and just file this out a little bit just to make it fit. But yeah, it's a bit of a struggle, I must admit. But it's getting there anyway. Right, I'm back. I think I'm getting there. I filed this out. Just took a few mil off it, and that seems to fit now. So that's how it's going to go. I did watch some YouTube videos, and they said the mounting bolt needs to be in front of the axle to counteract the torque. That's what I've got. Got this little bit sticking out there, but I think that will bolt in, and it leaves me a gap in there to get my rack sort of mount for the pannier rack. Just need to get a longer bolt because that bolt's too small now. But yeah, I think that's how it's supposed to go. Never done this before. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I've got that in front of the axle. Gonna crack on and do a little bit more. What I've got to say, it's turned out a lovely day in early October, nice and warm. So we got the rear pannier back on, and that was a bit of a struggle lining that up. It's crazy, I only just took that off really to paint it. It was the original on the bike, but it's back on. So yeah, we got that torque arm nice and tight, and I'm not sure if that is the correct way. I think it is, because the bolt is in front of the turn of the wheel, but that's the only way it would fit. There was no other way I could get that to fit, but it's all locked up and it's nice and solid. And I say it's only a 250, you can see it there, just a 250 watt motor, so it's not too much torque. But yeah, so far so good. I think I'm just going to call it a day for today, because my back's playing me up, but I've got all this cable management to do. I have got some stuff from Amazon, some sort of tubing that zips up, that's going to sort all that out. But I think for now I'm going to call it a day and have a glass of wine with me lunch and rest me back. But yeah, it's coming on well. Well, I tell you guys, best laid plans and all that. So the bike project isn't going anywhere at the moment, because unfortunately I've gone down with COVID. Yeah, so I feel as rough as a badger's arse right now. Shame, because I'm kind of getting right close to finishing it. I've only got really 2 or 3 hours maybe to go. But yeah, it's all gonna grind to a halt now while I recover, get over this virus. So it's a bit of a shame, but never mind, we'll get there. Completely random here, but looking up in the sky tonight, you've got Jupiter up there and the moon all in the same frame. How about that? Welcome back to a bit of the video. It's been 4 days now since I tested positive for COVID, and you know, I don't know quite what I was expecting because I've not had it before, but it's been a bit of a rough trip, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I felt really rough. I still do, 4 days in, and started coughing and that, and then my back's slightly been pulled because I've been coughing. Anyway, so yeah, I've not had a chance to do anything on the bike, but I just thought I'd recap because I didn't really intend to do a video on this, not even for Fred 2. So I just thought I'd recap a little bit at the beginning. This part of this comes with the kit. When you get this Yose Power kit, it's only a cheap kit. I said at the beginning, £385 from Amazon. What I've noticed is that I bought the 250 watt rear wheel kit. I really wanted the rear wheel kit. I didn't want the motor on the front wheel. It's too easy to steal. And I've noticed that they've dropped the 250 rear wheel kit now, and that's been upgraded at no extra cost to a 350 watt rear wheel kit. And the 250 watt you can only get for the front wheel, which is what I didn't want. So you get an extra 100 watts for your money. It's the same price, $385 roughly. So something I didn't show you. This is the user manual, the fitting guide, if you like. It's not brilliant, I'll be honest with you. It goes through some of the details of what you have to do. It's there, but I've been watching YouTube videos, and that's helped me a lot more than this has. You literally got 6 pages. It's not really enough. This is the crank sensor, which I didn't use on my bike. I thought this was pretty crap, to be honest with you. That's one part of the kit that I think they've really tried to save money. It's cheap and it's horrible. So I bought a magnetic crank sensor, which you'll see on the bike. I just thought that was a load of rubbish. Didn't use that. One thing that is good is that if you buy the bigger kit, because they do bigger kits as well, you get a separate controlling unit with this battery. Someone asked this on the radio, might have been John. This is the 36 volt, or it's actually 41 volt battery. Now on the rack that goes on the bike, the controller is actually built in the back, so there's no separate controller. But if you go for the larger size, you do get a separate controller, which means more wires. But they provide this rather nice frame mounted bag, which is supposed to house the controller. And even though the smaller kit, you don't need it, they supply that as well. So that's quite good, because that's going to help me tie up the cables a lot neater. And that brings me on to this. I bought this from Amazon. I've not really opened it yet, but it's kind of like a stretchy nylon tube, and it's got a zip on it, and the idea is you put all the cables in and then you can zip it up, and that's for cable management, to make the whole thing look a little bit better. I also invested, this was about £8. This is a genuine Yose Power waterproof protective cover. Now this goes over the battery, because if it does rain, these connections on the back here, and you can see I put a little bit of grease on mine because it's really stiff at the moment, but these connections, they're quite exposed, and I can see even though I don't go on the bike for very long, I can see getting a real heavy shower. I can see that being a problem. So I bought that. That was about £9 extra, just to protect the battery. Excuse me. As you can hear, I'm not 100%. Also new. Right, so COVID day 5.5. It's a lovely day, so I'm going to try and get out and do a bit. This is that cable management stuff I was telling you about, and this is how it works. hopefully you can see this, but yeah, so it's just ties up all of those cables and then they go into this little bag here, which is quite a useful little bag. I don't really need it because I haven't got a separate controller, but it just allows a little bit of space for tools, things like that. But yeah, so that's my cable management done. That's about the best that I can do it. I'm quite pleased with that overall. I think that along with those curly kind of ties at the front, I think that's about the best you're going to do. You're always going to get lots of cables. Right, next job is this Alpha Plus rear reflector and light has got to go on there, and the mountings are completely different, so a little bit of a job there. Cracking on. So nothing like tearing down a brand new light. Yeah, looking at this, to get this to fit on those two holes, I think I'm going to have to drill through here to where the battery mount is and just countersink a couple of little bolts. I think that's the best way to do it. It's a shame, but can't think of any other way to get it to work. I think it'll work. There we go, we've got that bolted on. It doesn't flash or anything, it's just mainly a reflector and a little LED light, and it's not very bright in daylight obviously, but just wanted something quite basic on the back. But yeah, that keeps everything nice and legal. Right, next little job, and nothing's easy on this bike. So yeah, I've got a mirror that goes on the end of the bar here. I think a rear view mirror is quite essential nowadays. Idiots on the road. And yeah, I bought these grips because I quite like them, but I was hoping this might pop out to allow the mirror to go on, but unfortunately it looks like it's all fixed, so I'm going to have to adapt this and drill it out to get the mirror in. So yeah, nothing simple, it always takes a bit of time. Right, got that fitted on, that wasn't too bad. I've got one of these mirrors on my other bike. They're only cheap, they're only about £8 or £9, and I think you get a pair. Had it a while. So what I've done, I mount them low instead of having it up that way, which is where you'd think. It works just as well having it low, and then I generally just have this so tight, not fully tight, and it just locks in position, and then when you get off the bike, if you have to lean it against a wall or something, just fold it in. It saves scratching up the plastic. So that's about it. I've done a couple of hours, but I'm telling you, this COVID thing's a bit of a trip. I feel completely exhausted. I feel knackered, like I've done a day's work or something, or even worse. So yeah, going to call it a day now, and a shame because I could pretty much get on and finish this. I've only got a few more bits to do, but just feel bloody exhausted. So going to start again, afresh another day. Don't want to cock it up, but then hopefully we can then take it on a proper drive, or cycle, I should say, once my head's clear. Take it around the streets, and then we can give it a really good test. But just cycling around the garden, it's amazing. I think it's going to work really well to do my 8, 9, 10 miles an hour. Anyway, let's get on to another day and I can finish this job finally. And there you go, the bike that Fred built is finished. It took a bit longer than I thought, mostly due to getting COVID. Let's put the battery cover on, see what that looks like. Oh, that's better. Properly finished now with a little overcoat on. Stop that battery from getting wet. So yeah, there it is. I've got these couple of panniers that are going to go on the back. These are well old. I've cleaned them up a little bit. They're just going to sort of hang on the back, which kind of hides the motor. There's been a lot of bicycle thefts at work over the sort of, you know, the COVID lockdowns and things. We lost about 4 bikes from our cycle sheds at work. This one, okay, before this conversion of course, but this one was left every time, because I think it just looks a little bit old-fashioned, and it's a real old bike with those sort of panniers on the back. So obviously I'll be taking the battery off when I go into work, hoping the bike's going to be okay. I'll put 2 D-looks on it, and it's been left before. I'm hoping it's going to be left again. But yeah, so overall, let me just run through just a few of my conclusions why Bella has a good sniff of the bike, and I'll tell you what I think about the conversion and how easy it was. So firstly, I'd say that my conversion was made a lot harder by the fact that I chose a very old Raleigh bike. As I explained at the beginning of the video, it was my dad's old bike. Didn't want to just throw it away. If you bought a newer frame, and bearing in mind there's lots of bikes around now because everyone bought them in lockdown, and now people are chucking them out on Facebook I guess, eBay. If you bought a newer frame, a lot of the fittings would work first time. There would be less fiddling than what I had to do. But I mean, I think overall, if you're handy with spanners and you can maintain things, certainly if you can maintain a car, for example, you won't have any trouble in fitting this. A couple of things that were a bit strange was the pedal sensor. I didn't like, as I said before, I didn't like the one that was supplied with the kit. I got this one, which is the little plastic ring with the magnets. I fitted it the way it said, with the magnets this side, and it didn't pick up very well on the sensor. So I actually put that back to front, and it seems to work absolutely fine. It has to do about half a crank before the motor kicks in. That is adjustable. In the menu system, when you go into the power settings, that is adjustable, so you can have it much more sensitive. But then, of course, if you're perhaps wheeling the bike, is that bloody crow had shut up? When you're wheeling the bike, if you knock the pedal, it's going to kick forward. So I think that in practice that's fine. But yeah, that was a bit weird. Next thing, which did cause me a bit of a problem, was the fact I used the original gear set on the back. This is not a cartridge; it's a freewheel. It screws on. This was the 5-speed that came with the bike, but I did change the gear mechanism because the old one was pretty knacked. When I fitted that to the wheel, the actual gears sort of locked up on the motor. It wouldn't freewheel, so I had to get some shims, and these are basically cassette shims that you would use to space the gears. Not expensive. I think it was about £6 for a pack of 10 from Amazon, but then I had to wait a couple of days, which was a little bit frustrating. But yeah, I had put a single shim on there just to move it out so it didn't foul the motor, and it's been absolutely fine since. As far as the settings go on the display, there's quite a few various settings you can use. It comes preset on 26-inch wheels, so I didn't have to adjust anything on that. And the only thing I did notice when I just rode around the garden was the fact that that motor was kicking in with quite a lot of high torque. That is adjustable. You can adjust that on the settings, and I've turned that right down so that it's more progressive now. It's a more gentle acceleration. It was really going for it. Yeah, I'd say there's a lot involved in this: eco mode, normal mode, power mode. Personally, I'll probably just have it in eco mode. Next stage will be to take it round the block. So at the moment I'm COVID positive, so I shouldn't really be going out, and plus I don't really feel great. But yeah, I mean, considering that I've replaced pretty much everything on this bike, all this is new. I think the only thing standard is probably the gear set, the brake calipers, if you like, and the rack. Everything else, and the saddle. Okay, there's quite a bit less standard, but everything else I replaced. So yeah, overall it was an enjoyable build. So I just need to road test it now, and that'll be the next part of the video. I won't use this camera because I'm going to cry my eyes out if I drop a £600 camera, so I'm going to use my little action camera, but the microphone is very, very poor on that. So basically I'll overdub a little bit of audio, but yeah, that's it. Alright, let's wait till I feel a little bit better in a couple of days, and let's get this out on the road.
And finally, many days later, I'm out on the road for my first ride of an electric bike. And here's the Steed in all of its glory. Yeah, it's a bit of a mishmash, isn't it? The bike that Fred built. And here we go, out on the road. Now, if you've never ridden an electric bike before, I would recommend you start off on assistance level 1. This seems to top out around about 7 or 8 miles an hour. What I'll do, because on this test drive here, this was an early one, and I've got the maximum speed set to 15 miles an hour. So I'll put up on the screen the approximate top speeds for each level. But here I am going along here. You can see that I've stopped pedalling. The bike is just freewheeling, then the motor sort of kicks in. If you look above where it says 2, you'll see that little graph, those little sort of segments that light up. That is the sort of torque of the motor. That's the amperage I think it's pulling. Gives you an idea when the motor's working really hard. It cuts in just about here, but yeah, level 2 is absolutely fine with a little bit of pedalling. You can get it up to say 11 miles an hour, and at this stage I'm not putting any pressure on the pedals at all, and it's doing 10 to 11 miles an hour, so I'm actually pretty happy with that. I don't think I'm going to need personally any more power than that. It's also worth noting and this was something I was a bit concerned about, is there's very little drag on these hub motors. I'm slightly going downhill here, and you can see it's maintaining 10 miles an hour, just freewheeling. So yeah, the motor doesn't seem to drag at all. I don't think it charges the battery or anything like that when you stop pedaling. So I've just dropped it down to level 1 here, and now I'm doing about 9 miles an hour. So at this stage I'm sort of using my legs as you were, well at least I was, as you would do normal cycling, so you can get some exercise as well as relying on the motor to do the work. So it doesn't mean that you don't get exercise if you turn down the electrical assist level. And even on this short first run, it's relaxing. I found it quite relaxing. I think when you get to a certain age, probably not if you're younger, but you get to a certain age, you'll find this quite helpful. So I've cranked it up to level 5 here, and even though this bike isn't geared for high speed, I'm going to do some acceleration in just a moment. And here I go. And it zips up to speed really quickly. And it maxes out around about sort of 16 miles an hour, but bearing in mind I've got the maximum speed set at 15.5, so after that it's all pedal power. I did, as I say, turn that restrictor off, and I got about 18.5 miles an hour where I wasn't really putting in a lot of effort, and then after that it does become, I got up to about 20, but then that is putting in most effort. Right, here I'm using the thumb throttle here, and just putting it flat out now on the thumb throttle. And once again, I think I saw about 16.5 miles an hour top speed. In general, it goes at about 15.5 miles an hour with absolutely no effort. So it's there if you want it, if you just want to sort of take your feet off the pedal and have a little bit of a rest. The only problem with that, obviously, is that it does tend to take a lot more out of the battery. I did notice the battery going down. Right, going to go across some grass here, because obviously grass is always a little bit harder to pedal along. I've put it down to level 5. And yeah, once again, it just takes the effort out of it. There's no effort at all going across this grass and through these trees, and yeah, it's quite pleasurable. So I'm going to wrap this one up. It has been a long video. It's certainly been long for me, with illness in the middle of it and everything else. Reliability wise, I'll leave some updates in the comments. Sometimes they say these hub motors can fail quite early on. Other people I've read have had them going for a couple of years without issue. I'm going to be using it every day commuting to work throughout the winter, so I'll let you know how it gets on. But yeah, as for now, thanks for sticking with the video. It's been quite a long one. And as always, take care, look after yourselves, and I'll catch you all on the next one.